Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering Wrexial the Risen Deep, a masterpiece from Zendikar Rising. So, let's get into it. So, before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to one of my new patrons, Bloody Rogue. Bloody Rogue requested that I make this video. All of my patrons can request a new video in any series that I do. And so his request was that I cover Wrexial the Risen Deep. Now, this was one of my two biggest chase cards coming into Zendikar Rising. This one and Stoneforge Mystic were the two masterpieces that I most wanted to get my hands on. And so it's only fitting that I go ahead and make this video on Wrexial. Now, Wrexial is an 8/11 for 20. It's blue and black, so you can use it in any blue or black Planeswalkers deck. It's a legendary creature, and as long as the total of black and blue gems is 15 or more, this creature gains unblockable. Now, the real redeeming piece of Wrexial is when this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's Planeswalker, you get to take one of the first 4 spells from their graveyard, fetch it, and give it full mana. So if your opponent has spells in their graveyard, then you're able to start stealing them and playing them for free. Now, Wrexial has some very serious pros and cons. Serious con is that it costs 20 mana. Also serious con is that your opponent needs to have spells in their graveyard in order for Wrexial to actually do anything other than being a vanilla 20 mana 8/11. Then the pros for Wrexial are that you can then start stealing spells from your opponent. And with those spells, you get to play them for free. And so you can have some pretty wacky games and get to use some cards that you may not otherwise get to be able to play with. That being said, the goods don't really outweigh the bads here for Wrexial. Like, I don't particularly like playing with my opponent's cards, but I figured that I'd be able to play with, I'd be able to steal removal a lot more often. And I'm finding that the more that I play with Wrexial, the less that I'm finding that my opponents have any spells that I actually want to take. Like, it feels like maybe a third of the games that I play, someone is actually using removal or actually has a spell that I might want to take. And even then, in order for me to get it, I have to get rid of cards from their library before I'm able to steal it with Wrexial. So that's kind of a downer. Now, the way that I wound up building around Wrexial was to put Wrexial in a Liliana Untouched by Death deck. So Liliana Untouched by Death is going to enable me to dump a whole bunch of things into my own graveyard. And then by dumping a whole bunch of things into my own graveyard, I'm using Eerie Ultimatum to go ahead and pull my stuff back from the graveyard and get it on the battlefield for free. I'm also running Otrimi to be able to destroy creatures from my library and get my creatures back for free. I'm running Garuda as a way of milling my opponent. Otrimi is also able to mutate Garuda, which is going to make Garuda's mill effect happen again. Now, when I say mill effect, I don't mean the companion effect. I'm ignoring that companion effect even exists. I'm just referring to the when this enters the battlefield, destroy the top 8 cards from your opponent's library. I'm also running Sir Conrad because Sir Conrad is going to destroy cards from both players' libraries. And so in doing, you're going to get more spells for free with Wrexial. So it gives us 2 different creatures between Sir Conrad and Garuda that we can get stuff back for free with Wrexial. I've got some removal in the form of Hagra Mauling and Ruinous Ultimatum to get rid of stuff from my opponents. I've got gem conversion in the form of Crypt of Agadeem, Castle Locthwain, and the landforming support from Hagra Mauling. That's also going to convert 3 to black. And then I've got Shadow Spear to gain a little bit of extra life to counteract the life that we're going to be losing from Castle Locthwain. So the deck is actually incredibly effective, but as you'll find, Wrexial is just sort of like an addition to the deck. It's like a support card to any deck. And when I say support, I don't mean a support like Castle Locthwain is a support. I mean that it just sort of supports the function of your deck, but it isn't an integral part of the deck like Otrimi and Garuda and Conrad are in this deck. So let's go ahead, check out the gameplay, and see Wrexial in action. So here in match number 1, we're up against a Nissa Worldwaker deck. And so up against Nissa Worldwaker, I'm kind of hoping that maybe Nissa is running some kind of ultimatum, or maybe Nissa is running something that's going to enable me to fetch creatures, or, some kind of good spell. I don't know, something good. And so here I've got my first ability already, which is really nice. That lets me start dumping things in my graveyard. I've got Castle Lockdwain out already, which is really nice because that's going to help me draw cards. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and freeze down the Shadow Spear. I do not want Shadow Spear to be on the battlefield if I'm not going to actually be getting anything from the Shadow Spear. So Nissa's going to go ahead and use her third ability. She's already got her third. The two of us are just getting crazy cascades and loyalty, so good for us. I've got Eerie Ultimatum, which is like incredibly sweet. So that means that these now 2 first abilities that I've been able to use are going to start yielding some sweet, sweet fruits soon. I draw an Otrimi, which means that I'll definitely be able to mutate something that I pull back with the Ruinous Ultimatum. I get yet another Black Gem Converter, and that means that I'm very likely to be able to get Eerie Ultimatum this next turn. And so I get a conversion, and with that conversion, I'm definitely going to get Eerie Ultimatum. And I can actually also play the Otrimi and mutate something. So I can go ahead and get both of those. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull out Conrad. So that's nice, Garuda. And so you're going to see Conrad is going to be pinging Nissa Worldwaker a bunch because we're both losing creatures from our libraries. And I get the star of the show, or at least what's supposed to be the star of the show, Wrexial. So here I make a mistake. I thought that was the Otrimi from my hand, but it was actually an extra Otrimi from my graveyard, from the Eerie Ultimatum. So shame on me, but no biggie. I'm trying to highlight Wrexial here more than I'm trying to highlight Garuda, so that's fine. I've actually got another Eerie Ultimatum ready to go in my hands. I'm going to use my first ability. Not that I actively need it after Garuda came down, but, you know, whatever. Why not try and throw more things in the graveyard? Sir Conrad's just going to keep on doing Sir Conrad things and pinging Nissa. I am going to go ahead and throw away the Otrimi to get another Garuda because, I mean, you know, throwing more cards in the graveyard and, well, Garuda. So we're going to do that. We're going to get another Wrexial. We're getting another Conrad. Conrad is now a big boy. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice and bring back an Otrimi. I'm going to get a free creature back, and I get to steal a spell. Now, technically, right, Inscription of Abundance is a solid card. Nissa's Revelation is a solid card, and so is the green gem conversion from Reclaim the Wastes. But I'm playing Liliana. I don't want Reclaim the Wastes, and neither of those spells are spells that I actively need right now. That being said, like, getting a free Nissa's Revelation to get a little bit of extra card draw in black is always nice, and so that's some of the wondrousness that is Wrexial, is that you get to play with some of these cards in colors that you wouldn't normally get to play them. And then with this match is over. My opponent's not going to survive this. I can throw that away safely and be fine. And I'm looking at the game, and it's not looking like I have any real shot at getting another Ruinous Ultimatum down, or Eerie Ultimatum. So let's just go ahead and jump into our second match. That Nissa just got smacked down by Liliana. That was savage. For match number 2, I'm getting paired up against a Chandra, the bad Chandra for that matter too. Like the Chandra's hot garbage. So I have absolutely no fear whatsoever, and I'm just kind of sort of hoping that this Chandra is going to have some kind of decent spells in her deck of some kind. I've got that black into blue match on the right, which is going to get me a lot of mana, which is nice. And then I want to start prioritizing getting Gem Conversion and Garuda down, because with Gem Conversion and Garuda, I can start trying to work my way toward the Eerie Ultimatum. I've got 2 separate 5 matches available, so I'm just going to immediately take the loyalty and dump cards into my graveyard. Eerie Ultimatum is definitely going to be the play here over the Castle Lockdwain, just because I'm going to be able to play it this turn, and so why not? Let's try and just get, you know, free stuff. I'm not going to take the landfall black just because I don't want to destroy the other black gems that are on the battlefield right now. I want to maximize the number of black gems that are available. I do get a Wrexial out of this, so it's another really quick Wrexial. Eerie Ultimatum is a fantastic way to get things back. And so this time we've definitely got cards in Chandra's graveyard, so when Wrexial strikes next turn, we're going to hope that we get something good from Chandra. Ooh, that was a bad play, Chandra. Oh, yeah. That thing stands no chance. At all. Like, seriously, no chance. So we're going to fill the graves again. We're using our first ability. Just dump some more stuff in the graveyard. I mean, why not? And then we've got a number of different black matches at our disposal. Doesn't matter which one we take. And let's see what spells Chandra has. So Demolish, Lithoforming, Ruinous Ultimatum. Yeah, we're taking Ruinous Ultimatum for sure here. And so that's an example of Wrexial being cool, right? Because now we get to steal the Ruinous Ultimatum, and then we get to go ahead and kill Chandra. But, I mean, in this case, it doesn't make a huge difference. But, I mean, if you're watching closely, you'll notice that really the power of this deck comes from the combination of Liliana's first ability, and then Otrimi, Sir Conrad, and Garuda. Like, Wrexial is just sort of an afterthought here. And that's just generally the theme of this creature. It just sort of feels like an afterthought. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap up the match here. Chandra has absolutely no chance, especially with all of this mill going on, and we're going to mutate the Garuda again, which means that Garuda is just going to go ahead and kill Chandra, and that's going to be it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you especially again to Bloody Rogue for becoming a new patron, and I will see you all in the next one.